If you're looking to make solar simple, give Ron Domenico with AD Energy a call. All-day energy made simple. Solar solutions with zero down, options to lease or finance, and roofs and trees are no issue. Call Ron Domenico at 609-226-2802 and tell him you saw him on the Sports Box.
Well, hello again, and welcome to the show that if we were potty trained, we'd get a 5-star rating. This is the Sports Box. The only opinion matters. It's right here. I am Mike Galetta, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner, Brian, the Ranger Tard. Brian, how are you today?
I know how to use a toilet. Do you know how to use a toilet?
5-star rating. That's it.
On what scale?
Anyway, you gotta stop making fun of my openings. Anyway, they're funny. They make people laugh. People enjoy it.
You leave it open for me, I'm gonna spike it.
Anyway, today we are going to start our draft coverage, our mock draft coverage, 1 through 8 today. Other segments we will have the rest, but Brian, let's get started. I'm excited to talk about teams. We are going to start with the Cleveland Browns. Can they get it right this year?
Yeah, so the number 1 pick usually means that you suck. That definitely fits the
and we keep getting it every year.
The MO for the Browns.
Oh my God.
So the Browns are the Edmonton Oilers of the NFL for you hockey nuts that are out there. So a couple different ways they can go here, Mike. I mean, obviously they're going to run this draft. This is their first of 2 picks. They also pick again at 12.
There's only one way to go with this.
There is only one way. There's only one sensible way to go. But again, this is Cleveland, so you can take nothing for granted. Now, just one thing before we make this pick. Ground rules for our mock draft is we're assuming no trades. We're not trying to get crazy here. We're going to pick them as they see them right here.
Yep.
For me, I think the pick is very obvious. I think it's Myles Garrett.
Absolutely.
I think they need a playmaker on defense very badly. I think they need playmakers, period. But I think you get one on defense, it's going to be great. Nobody else really stands out to me. And he's pretty much said, if you don't pick, I'm going to make your life hell for 10 years. I think I'll take the guy there.
You got to start somewhere. And I think this draft is quarterback light. There's been talk of Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina. I can't see that happening. You can't take a guy first overall. Actually, we can make a whole show out of why did they pass on Carson Wentz last year and move back in the draft and screw that up. But anyway, this is the Browns. This is why the organization that they are. I agree with Brian. Myles Garrett is the pick, defensive end from Texas A&M. High motor, coming off the end, big kid. Give them a little bit of push. Got to start somewhere. You got to go with Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett.
Yep. So the second pick in the draft that we feel is the San Francisco 49ers. Brian, break it down for him.
So, again, now they have some options as well. So, with Garrett off the board, they're not thrilled. I think that they were definitely looking for a defensive end, and unfortunately the best one's going to go to Cleveland, so we believe. So, you're looking probably at defense for the Niners. I don't think they go quarterback. I think that they think they're going to get Kirk Cousins at some point, and I don't think they're going to invest a high pick. Frankly, if we're talking about trades, this is a prime pick to trade down. But assuming they make the pick, I think we both agree Solomon Thomas is the pick here.
Yep.
Defensive end out of Stanford. Again, they really need to work on that defense, and you don't want to reach for players. So while they may have some needs in other spots, I just think that Solomon Thomas is a great fit here for
He is the second defensive end on the board, obviously, and he's from the area. Again, San Francisco's got to start somewhere. This isn't a draft where you pick up a quarterback and say, let's build around him, because quarterbacks aren't there. Even though Deshaun Watson is out there, I still don't think he's a number 2 pick worthy for the San Francisco 49ers to start this team over again. You got to start baby steps. Got to start it the right way, folks. Got to get these guys and make them better. So I like Solomon Thomas as well.
The Niners have their voodoo doll out for the Browns. They really want them not to take Myles Garrett. Like they would cause unspeakable harm to people to make sure that they get Myles Garrett. It's just not going to happen for them.
The number 3 pick goes to the Chicago Bears. I think we're kind of in agreement here. I think Marshawn Lattimore, cornerback out of Ohio State, is the pick for Chicago. Here's a Chicago defense that's been decimated the last couple of years, been getting shredded the last couple of years. And now that Cutler's out of the picture on offense, they do have stability in running back. They did lose a wide receiver. They lost Alshon Jeffrey to the Eagles this year. They're kind of in disarray, but I think Marshawn Lattimore is the kind of cornerback that you have to take if he's there. Here's a guy who can press you. He can play single coverage. He can play zone. He can play all kinds of different things. He can get all over the field. He can come make some tackles for you. It's absolutely a good pick.
It's a wholesale rebuild in Chicago from the ground up. They're in a division with Aaron Rodgers, who's going to throw the ball all over the field. And the same thing applies for Matthew Stafford. So you got to have a guy who's going to be able to take half the field and just pretty much lock it down. For me, again, they're a team. It's funny because if the Browns do something off kilter at 1, it changes everything after that. Because I think, again, the Bears would love Solomon Thomas, but I think he's not going to be there for him. So for me, I agree. Lattimore is a nice pick. I think it starts a rebuild of that defense, which really was not very good last year. Well, really, I mean, what about the Bears was good other than Jordan Howard last year?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think we agree. Sportsbox says Lattimore going number 3 to the Chicago Bears. Bear down.
And at the number 4 pick, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think we're kind of in agreement there. Which, at first I kind of thought the Jacksonville would go in a different direction, maybe go O-line, maybe go, maybe possibly a receiver with the 2 receivers that are in this draft. But I think Leonard Fournette is the way to go from LSU running back, big, heavy hitting kid, running back. We talked about this. Jacksonville hasn't had a running back since the Fred Taylor days. So, I mean, that's a long time.
Not one they've been able to count on, frankly. But here's the thing. I mean, they want to give Blake Bortles no excuses. They want to give him as much offensive talent around him as possible to see what they have in this kid going forward. They spent a lot of picks on that defense. Last year, Jalen Ramsey, Myles Jack in the second round. They've invested so much there that they really need to make sure that their offense is taken care of as well. Again, arguably, I think he's the best running back in the draft. Do I feel that he's on Ezekiel Elliott's level? No, I don't. And this is where the Cowboys got him last year. You can talk about that all you want to. But this, I think this is where they're going to go. Do I think it's where they should go? Not necessarily. But I think it's where they
It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them.
No. I think again, if their defense can become what it should, they need more help on offense.
They loaded up on defense last year, so you think they'd be okay and starting to gel a little bit on defense. But I like the pick. I think running back's a good move for Jacksonville. The number 5 slot, we have the Tennessee Titans. And again, I think we're both in agreement that defensive end Jonathan Allen is the way to go here from Alabama. What don't you like about this kid? Another high motor kid. You can get around the end, play for Saban, play in a pro-style offense that he's ready now to get in there. And Tennessee, up-and-coming team, Mariota seems to be getting it right. You'd think they maybe go a little bit of offense, maybe one of the wide receivers on this board, but I like the pick with Jonathan.
Well, what's interesting for Tennessee, so this is the Rams pick. This is part of the deal that they made last year to get that number 1 overall pick to St. Louis now, L.A. Here's the thing. Tennessee has flexibility here, Mike, because they have 2 picks in this draft. So they can... Not that they can pick anybody that they want to, but let's say, and I agree with you that wide receiver is a bit of a need for them. I just don't think they have to do that here. I think that they can wait. So because Jonathan Allen's kind of staring them in the face there, again, that's the third defensive end in the first 5 picks here. I think it makes sense. I think they need to address their defense. They're in a division, I don't know what Houston's going to become, but if Jacksonville ever got their stuff together, you still have Andrew Luck and the Colts. You got to get a pass rush going. I think Allen's a nice fit there at 5 to Tennessee.
Yep. So with the number 6 pick in the draft, those New York Jets. Man, you look at the Jets and they struggled last year mightily with all the quarterback issues they had and different things like that. Now they've lost their wide receiver and they're in total flux right now. I think you got to start with this team. You got to start over. And I think the best quarterback on the board is Deshaun Watson. I think that's the good pick out of Clemson. Here's a guy who was supposed to go top 3 last year, slipped a little bit in the draft this year, but I still think he's going to be a good enough pro that you got to take him at this pick. You got to start rebuilding this quarterback situation with the Jets.
If it wasn't for the Bears, people would be talking about the Jets as just a crumbling team. I hear where you're coming from with that. Yeah. I would not personally go quarterback, but I agree they're probably going to. Yeah. I think they need to make a splash. It's a team with just not a lot of buzz around them, and you're in the biggest market in the country. You got to have a face of your franchise, and they don't have one right now. So I think Deshaun Watson makes a lot of sense there. They have receiver issues. They have issues everywhere.
Yeah, they need.
I mean, again, if you're looking to rebuild a team, obviously you got to get that quarterback there. So if they go with Deshaun Watson, I think that does make some sense. It's going to piss a couple teams off after them that need some quarterback help, but we'll go with Watson there at 6 for the Jets.
And at the number 7 slot, those Los Angeles Chargers. It's so hard to say.
It's going to get annoying.
The Los Angeles Chargers at number 7. Interesting pick for them. I think. With the loss of Weedle a couple years ago, Weddle. Why are you so hooked on a phonics thing? It's unbelievable.
I'm the grammar police.
Nah, you are the grammar police. Anyway, that's it. So with the loss of that, I think Jamal Adams is a good pick, safety out of LSU. It addresses the need that the Chargers are a little bit suspect on defense. They do get thrown on a lot. They do get beat a lot deep. I think they have to start addressing the secondary, and Jamal Adams, I think, is where they start.
I think that the Chargers are absolutely thrilled to find Adams here at the 7th pick. I know a lot of people think that he might go higher than this, possibly to the Jets at 6 or possibly even higher than this. Again, I think it's very, very obvious that San Diego has to go to their secondary and really address it because they are god-awful in the secondary. It's not as if they're going to go look for a quarterback to replace Philip Rivers, at least not yet. So I think that they are just head over heels thrilled that Jamal Adams is there from LSU at 7. I think he's absolutely their pick if he's there. I think if he's not there, they go Malik Hooker without question. I think they're got to address that safety position. But the way our mock is falling, Jamal Adams is there. That's the pick for LA.
If he does fall there, which I think he will, that would be a great pick for the Chargers.
Yep.
So before we go on to our number 8 pick with the Carolina Panthers, we want to say something real quick. We'll be right back.
This episode of the Sports Box is brought to you by Mic'd Up Entertainment and DJ Mike Velarde. For all of your event planning needs, make sure you contact Mike at 609-864-5925 and tell him that you saw him on the Sports Box.
And we're back. So as we're back to our draft, the number 8 pick goes to the Carolina Panthers. And on the line with us is an absolute pleasure. Our guy from Carolina who gives us just the flat-out truth and nothing but the truth, Monty Fetti Jr. Monty, welcome to the show, pal.
How are you doing, fellas? Pleasure to be back.
Oh, man, living the dream, Monty. Now that you're on the line, man, I feel a hell of a lot better. So let's get right to it. The number 8 pick for Carolina, Monty, what do you think? What are you thinking about?
Well, Jacksonville kind of killed my dreams with Leonard Fournette going at 4. Mm-hmm. So if gun to my head, I'm going Christian McCaffrey. It makes too much sense to not go with Christian McCaffrey. We have his old position coach from Stanford. He's now our wide receiver coach. Yeah. He fills more than one position that we absolutely need, and that's a slot receiver. We need a new punt returner with Ted Ginn going to New Orleans. And, and then he also gives us another running back. Stewart's getting older. He gives us that change of pace that we need. The coaches have raved about him as a great character guy. That's one thing that Carolina just loves to pick. They love picking guys with high character. Yep. Maybe outside Cam Newton, but every guy else, they're high character guys. And, to me, it just makes too much sense for us not to go Christian McCaffrey. The only knock I can think of is his blocking, and I don't think he's going to be much of a running back for us. I think he'll be a slot receiver. So.
Sure, and you lost Ted Ginn Jr. in the offseason in New Orleans. Here's a guy, McCaffrey, can come in there and make a difference, return punts, return kicks, versatile out of the backfield, catch some balls for you. I will ask you this, Monty, on my side, though. That is a great pick, and that's where me and Brian, I think we can come to agreement that McCaffrey will go there. But I will ask you, if Reuben Foster, which I think he's still sitting there at the time, do you think Carolina will have any possibility of getting Reuben Foster, linebacker, out of Alabama?
I would say no, and reason being, we've drafted linebackers, for just in case, Luke Kuechly does, God forbid, have another injury, another injury that will have him miss extended period of time. We've drafted, O.J. Mayo. And we've also not O.J. Mayo. Gosh, I can't think of his last name. We drafted a guy, and then we have Jeremy Cash, who we actually signed from Duke last year. And from everything that I've read, Carolina loves Jeremy Cash. And I believe he will be eventually Luke Kuechly's replacement if anything happens. The linebacker is one of the positions I believe we're loaded on. We're fine. I would stay away from linebacker for the entire draft this year, actually. As deep as defense is this year, Carolina needs weapons. They need offensive weapons. The only defensive or position that I believe that we would even address is safety. And I'm kind of happy with Kirk Coleman and Mike Evans being back there, So I wouldn't draft, as talented and as amazing as Foster is, I would stay away from him.
Monty, I guess my question for you is, McCaffrey strikes me as somebody who's one of these guys that the past couple of weeks has been shooting up the draft. I mean, I remember there was talk of, would he be a first-round pick or not, and here we are now in the top quarter of the draft and him possibly going at 8. What would you say? I mean, obviously the coaches, there's a connection there, and I totally understand that. What have you seen from McCaffrey that makes you take him over a Dalvin Cook, who seems to be now falling down draft boards in relation?
And to be honest, guys, I was one of the guys that actually was very critical of Chris McCaffrey. I didn't think he was going to be a first-round pick at all. I thought he would fall into the second. So I had to reassess how I thought of him. And I was just telling Mike, comparing Dalvin Cook and Chris McCaffrey, they're almost the same player. They both do a lot of the same things. They're both crazy. They're both crazy talented as a punt return and kick return, and also great slot receivers. I personally, what sold it for me for Chris McCaffrey was rewatching the Rose Bowl that he had and him single-handedly just destroying Iowa. Iowa was the 5th best team that year in 2015, and he single-handedly destroyed them. And then going back and I rewatched tape of his pro day, I rewatched how fluent he is with his route running and has amazing hands. And it just makes too much sense. Every need that I believe Carolina needs offensively, he brings. He brings you that running back, that change of pace back. He also brings that slot receiver guy that can go out and run amazing routes, have great hands. And again, you can't make create a punt returner out of nowhere. And he's that guy. I think the off the field stuff with Dalvin Cook is what hurt him the most. Mm-hmm. I actually thought Dalvin Cook was the second best running back in this year's draft, and it sucks to see how something off the field can tank you, but this is your job now. So yeah. I think that was the biggest knock on Dalvin Cook, because looking at tape and looking at his pro day, Dalvin Cook is amazing. It's no way you can honestly sit here and say Dalvin Cook isn't a first round or early first round running back. I think it's more of the off the field stuff that kind of hurt him.
Right. Well, I think we're both in agreement.
That's the official Sports Box pick has Christian McCaffrey, running back out of Stanford, going number 8 to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So keep an eye out. This is our first block of our picks.
Yes.
We always have good stuff coming. First of all, we want to thank Monty for getting on the phone in his Carolina home, rocking the draft, getting ready for us, and giving us a good pick in the number 8 spot. Monty, thank you very much. We appreciate it, pal.
I appreciate it again, guys. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Monty.
Absolutely. And remember, we can always get us to social media if you need to.
Most certainly. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook, and it's easy to find at Sports Box Show. Make sure you find us there. And, of course, this wonderful, just glorious YouTube channel. It's the word of the day here at the Sports Box. Make sure you're subscribing here, because we're going to be doing the whole draft. This is just our first 8 picks here at the draft. Yep. We're going to try to go through the entire first round for you, get our best guesses of who these teams are going to take, and then we'll see how right we are.
And remember, you've got two more parts coming to this. 3. Oh, sorry, 3. Okay. Well, must not have been my contract. But anyway, we got 3 more parts coming to our special draft coverage. Keep an eye out, because that's Sports Box. The only opinion that matters. Right here.
You're cleaning that up. I'm not cleaning that
up. Thank you. See you.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in the South Jersey area, give Dave Birbaum a call with RE/MAX Community, 856-524-2927, and buy with Burn.
1, 2, 3.
Don't forget to subscribe.